Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Trader Summit. And for the very first time, one-on-one, just me and you, I've got Mr. Anthony Crudele. He's the host of the Futures Radio Show. You're so well known in the community. Good to have you here, Anthony.
Great to be here, Blake. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I actually really enjoyed the conversation we got to have during the Trader Summit event a few months back. And I thought we should have those conversations a lot more. It's really nice to have you here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I really appreciate it.
Well, I know as a longtime veteran in the markets as you are, and meeting with as many traders as you are, or as you do, excuse me, we've had conversations just recently. I was having a conversation with some hedge fund managers about drawdowns and coming out of like bad trades. How do you pull out of it? And I thought there's no better person to talk about like trading ideas, like how you navigate through the life cycle of a trader, because we've all had our ups. I've definitely had my downs, and I know you have too. But how do you deal with it as traders? And what do you think is a best practice for traders when you get hit upside the head by the market, you get taken to school, and what do you do? How do you deal with it?
Well, I can tell you, I've been grinding out of a drawdown for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And, it all started when I really felt I had a really nice grip on what the market was doing, but I was just executing poorly. So it was like I saw the charts, I thought really well, and I was really on top of what was happening, but I was trading poorly, getting too big at some times, and then being really small in the times they would go. And then I found myself, always being big, and then just having a weak hand in the market and just burning out of stuff, just getting nickeled and dimed. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm just getting myself and I'm just digging that hole. Yeah. I go from trading really well to just really poorly, even though I was seeing the market the same way.
What's really interesting? You just said something that it really just rings a bell with not only myself, but I'm sure with a lot of traders out there. You just said, I've been grinding it back and I've been grinding it out. And I think a lot of traders, they get hung up on this idea that they're in this, maybe it's like one bad trade. And I know I've been there. I've gotten a little oversized. I thought I had it right. And I got, widened up my stops a little bit too much. And I take a really big hickey in the market. But I think a lot of traders have this like, common thought process that I can make it all back in one trade or maybe a couple of trades. But you just said, I've been grinding it out. So how does that work?
Well, for me, I really had no choice, because every time I was trying to size up to do it, I was just digging a deeper hole. And then eventually I took a couple of days off, stepped back, looked at it and said, I had to identify what I was doing. I always tell people, anytime that you're getting into a drawdown, you have to ask yourself these questions. Is it me? Is it the market environment, or is my strategy, or is it my strategy?
Yeah.
And when I assessed it, I knew it was me. The market environment had been what it was, and my strategy is what it is. So what a lot of times what I'll actually do is I'll take my strategy and I'll go and I'll just automate it, and I'll look, not live, and I'll just go and see, like, how did my best trade setup look? How's it been doing? And I started doing this years ago, because I have a marker against myself and how I'm performing versus the machine just taking my favorite trade setup.
Yeah.
Now that's just taking it just in this, single contract. I just want to see how well it's performing. And I realized I didn't need to do that this time, because I knew it was me. And I just said, you know what? The reason why is because I wanted too much of short-term results. I had a really good start to the year. Then I gave a bunch of it back. And then I started doing really well again. And I was trying to like far exceed what I did at the beginning of the year. Yeah. And it just blew up in my face. So I said to myself, you either step back now, because I've been in this position, and you really look at it long-term and not care how long it takes to make it back, or you're just going to keep giving back your year, or who knows what happens. So that's why I started to grind out of it.
So how are you from a confidence point of view? Like, how does it shatter your confidence? Do you need to make it back? I mean, and how do you make it back? I mean, because I meet a lot of traders that are like, boom, hit them like a brick wall. They have the shovel. They never set it down. They just keep digging the hole, but their confidence is eroding. How do you like take a step back and get that confidence back?
And it's going to be the lamest answer of all time, but it's just really one trade at a time because
No, I think that's a great answer. Yeah.
because it's the only way,
Yeah.
and I look at it like this is that you have to be super disciplined about lowering expectations and also lowering your risk per trade, risk per day. So I have to go from, whatever my risk per day is, and I have to take it down. And there's a couple days, more than a couple days, where I was just like, okay, I set this lower risk limit and I hit it right away. And I'm just so frustrated. Even though I could afford to trade well beyond that, I had to stop because what was happening was sometimes we just had this inner frustration where you're so competitive that you're down a little bit. And now forget about the other money you lost. You want to make that day back right away.
Yeah.
And then you try to fight that. And so I had to take my expectations down and take my risk down.
Wow. Okay. So that to me is like just pure gold from a trader's point of view, because I think a lot of people, come to the conclusion, like I can make it back in one trade or maybe a couple of trades, but realistically, you have to actually really reduce your position size and reduce your risk to build back your confidence. Is that right?
Yeah. And when you start thinking of longer term results, your shorter term results always get better. Yeah. I was so fixated on short term results.
That makes a lot of sense. So let me ask you this about your current environment, because like for me, I happen to be, having one of those better streaks of my, of my trading. I think it's the volatility in the FX market that's really been good for me, but I've definitely been there, and I've been there probably more times than I'd like to admit. Being down in the dumps and grinding it out. How has the process been going for you, and where's your mind at now based on where it was, like, let's say a month ago?
Where it's at now is I'm just slowly, incrementally adding to winning days. So I put together a streak of some good days, some good weeks, and now I'm slowly, incrementally expanding the risk, holding on to trailers a little bit longer versus just getting out of a position just to make money. And a lot of people will say, oh, don't look at the P&L. Don't do that. Well, when I'm in a drawdown, I have to look at how much I'm down and how much I'm up, because sometimes I'm just caught in my own range. I got to keep myself in that range, and I need to put some repetitions on the board. So now I'm getting a little bit more where I'm keeping trailers because I believe in the trade. And I think the trade can go a little bit longer. Like right now, I'm actually long some Nasdaq because, I've been bullish and caught them a little bit earlier. It's actually against me at the moment, but I've got trailers on, and I just look at it and I just say, I'm trying to manage the day a little bit longer and try to stay with some positions and try and build a day, but also keeping my downside really quick to cover if it's not working.
And I think that's really positive of you to say. And I'm the same way. Like a lot of times for me, if I'm in a drawdown period, I will, if I have a positive day, let's just say it's a result of like 2 or 3 trades, I might book those trades. I'm more about P&L at that point. It's like, boom, totally. I locked in my profit and I'm going to walk away today a winner. And there's nothing you can do about it. I'm walking away today as a winner.
I mean, the other day I woke up in the morning. I knew I was going to play golf in the afternoon. And I said, you know what? Don't get yourself into a hole. And, I was up such a small amount. I just got up it and I looked at it and I stopped. And the rest of the day was great for me. I had such a positive feel about it. I went and played golf, came in the next day, had one of my best days for of the week and even for the month. And it was really just because I was fresh, just feeling good, putting some, putting a winner away and just also creating that discipline again of like, you're up X amount. It might be a busy day, but you're not seeing everything totally clear, or maybe it's just like the looks are okay, and you just walk away and you're getting yourself back to being structured and disciplined, because you know what you're looking for. I'm back in control of my decision making versus like feeling like this need of I have to press, I have to do something.
Anthony, I tell you what, I love talking trader with you, trader to trader. It makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm sure it resonates with people at home. So I want you to leave everybody with this, because I know, we're talking more of kind of strategy and how you deal with losses. But since this is, Trader Summit, I want to go and find out what's your best trade idea here over the next couple of weeks. We've had a really rough I want to say the last, few weeks, a lot of volatility. Seems like the equity markets are bottoming out, but do you have anything on your radar that's looking good over the next couple of weeks? And being this is the first week of June, what are you thinking?
So a lot of it's going to come down to obviously next week, because next week's such a big week. We have the Fed meeting on the 15th. We've got options expiration. I think it's triple witching. And for me, as a primarily, I trade oil, I'll trade some interest rates, and I trade a lot of equities. I talked about Nasdaq today. The number one technical look I have is to buy a pullback in the Nasdaq, but a lot of that is going to be dependent on what happens with the Fed and what happens with interest rates. I won't really be trading interest rates too much next week, because I think that the fact that you got the 2s, 5s, 10s, and 30s all near lows, if you're trading the futures, or highs when it comes to yields, if they start breaking out, I think that's going to cause a pullback in Nasdaq. And I will be looking at, and I'm looking at my charts right now, really like between 12.3 and 12.1 ish in the NASI. If it can sustain a daily close above 12.1, I will look to start getting long, and I'll look for a swing position back up to like 12.9 ish. So that's what I'm looking at. But it's going to depend on also oil. I mean, is oil at 125, 130? Because if oil's going up and rates are going up, that's going to be a very hard environment for equity. So as much as I think technically the pullback is what I want to do, it's going to depend on that. And I just want to say real quick as to why I'm looking at that pullback. One, we've rotated off the lows, and I anchor a VWAP from the low. And that price comes in around 12.3. And I like that. When we're in a trending down market and we make a low, a lot of them this year, I'll anchor the VWAP to that swing low and see how we trade around it. Since we've turned back above that, we've been stabilizing above it. So that comes in around 12.3. And then on my strategy, I have 12.1. So 12,100. Yeah. So I look at that range and say a pullback in there, I think you will see buyers. So I'm expecting a response. But once again, it will depend on rates.
There's a lot of moving parts in this environment. And you mentioned it. I mean, crude today at the day of recording, although you're probably watching this at the very end of the week, it's trading up at 123. I mean, it's getting to that level where it's not helping risk anymore as it goes higher, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I mean, we talk so much about rates right now, if the 10 years holding above 3% and you see just everybody talking about it, and crude oil just keeps grinding higher. Natural gas keeps grinding higher. At some point, when does that start becoming a factor? And when you're looking at the markets as a trader, do you start saying, how do I really be long equities here? I mean, there's nothing showing me any reason to do that. And I'm not a big macro guy to talk about how all those implications are hurting the consumer and stuff like that. But I just know that if oil just keeps grinding up, it just can't help a lot of the data that we're going to be looking at going forward.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. So Anthony, I love your ideas, and I love talking trader talk with you, especially, you being a previous floor trader. I love it. I just dig it. So for those people that are, just learning about you, which I can't imagine there's too many, but there's a few out there, I can guarantee it. If there's a few out there, how do they follow you and what you do? I know you're just not at Futures Radio.
Yeah, so they could just go to, primarily I'm on Twitter, like most of the people in the finance world. That's where I am social media wise. It's just at Anthony Crudele, and just go to anthonycrudele.com. I do a ton of stuff on there. I do weekly technical videos on TradeStation and TradingView. I do a weekly YouTube show on developing your edge, things I'm doing to develop my edge as a trader, and that's on YouTube. But all of that is all on anthonycrudele.com.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have this conversation with you, and I hope to make it more of a common occurrence because, like I said, I'm digging it. I'm enjoying it. So, thanks for spending your time with us here at Trader Summit, and we'll look forward to our next conversation.
Looking forward to it as well. Thank you so much.
Hey traders, Blake Morrow here. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also click the bell notifications so you do not miss any of our market-related trading analysis from some of the leading industry experts. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in the next video.